Steve Jobs. Actually, we have already published his video on the channel, but this is a remake video that is more detailed, just like the game companies do. Enjoy watching it and from the beginning. Stephen Paul Jobs is one of the co-founders of Apple Computer Incorporated. He served as CEO of Apple Incorporated until 5 weeks before his death. He is considered one of the pioneers of the computer industry. He also founded Next Computer and Pixar Animation Studios and served as chairman of the board of directors. In 2004, he contracted pancreatic cancer and died at the age of 56. In the late 1970s, with co-founder Steve Wozniak, he designed one of the first personal computers to achieve commercial success. He was born in Green Bay, Wisconsin, the son of Joanne Carol Schiebel, an American, and Abdel Fattah John Jandali, a political science professor of Syrian origin. He was adopted by Paul Jobs and Clara Jobs Jacobian of Mountain View, California. His biological sister is novelist Mona Simpson. In 1972, after graduating from Homestead High School in Cupertino, California, Steve Jobs applied to Reed College in Portland, Oregon, but dropped out after one semester. In the fall of 1974, Steve Jobs returned to California and began attending meetings of the Homebrew Computer Club with Steve Wozniak. He and Wozniak got a job as game designers at Atari Incorporated, a well-known computer game manufacturer at the time. At the time, the whistles inside Captain Crunch's sold in the US could, with minor modifications, emit 2,600 Hz, the frequency at VET controls for long-distance calls. Soon after, Jobs and Wozniak went into business in 1974, producing blue boxes to make expensive long-distance calls for free. In 1976, when Jobs was 21 and Wozniak was 26, they founded Apple Computer Company in the Jobs family garage. Their first home computer was the Apple I, which they sold for $666.66. In 1977, Jobs and Wozniak introduced the Apple II, by which time the Apple II had gained a significant foothold in the home market and cemented Apple's place in the computer market. In December 1980, Apple Computer went public and entered the market with very good valuations. That same year, Apple Computer launched the Apple III, but this model failed to replace its predecessor. As Apple continued to grow, an executive was sought who could help the company expand. In 1983, Jobs made John Sculley, then CEO of Pepsi-Cola, Apple's new CEO by making a deal with him and challenging him. Do you just want to sell sugar water for the rest of your life, or do you want to change the world? That same year, Apple released the technologically advanced but commercially unsuccessful Apple Lisa. In 1984, the Macintosh was introduced, the first GUI computer to be a commercial success. The development of the Mac was initiated by Jeff Raskin and was inspired by technologies developed at Xerox PARC but not commercialized. The success of the Macintosh continued when Apple discontinued the Apple II line and replaced it with Mac products, and continues to this day. Steve Jobs was a persuasive and charismatic advocate for Apple and, according to his critics, a disorganized and ambitious manager. In 1985, as a result of a fight within the company, Jobs was relieved of his duties by Sculley and thrown out. But it is worth noting that Jobs was the president of Apple Computer until 5 weeks before his death. After leaving Apple, Jobs founded another computer company called Next Computer. Next, like Lisa, was very technologically advanced, but it was never recognized, except in scientific fields. For example, Tim Berners-Lee developed the original World Wide Web system on a Next Computer at CERN. Although not well known, he helped develop object-oriented programming, PostScript display, and magneto-optical drive technologies. Many of Next's innovations would be seen in Mac OS X in the early 2000s. Next Step and its successor OpenStep ran on the x86 architecture and, at the time, the PowerPC architecture. In 1996, Apple acquired Next for $429 million to bring Jobs back to the company he founded. With careful planning and an internal move, then CEO Gil Amelio was fired. Steve Jobs is named interim CEO of Apple in 1997. As a result of the acquisition of Next, many of its technologies were incorporated into Apple products. The most prominent example is the development of Next Step and the writing of Mac OS X. Under Jobs' leadership, Apple's sales increased dramatically with the introduction of the iMac. Since then, the products have benefited Apple with their eye-catching design and brand reinforcement. With the introduction of the iPod portable music player, the launch of iTunes digital music software compatible with other operating platforms, and the opening of the iTunes online music store, Jobs expanded the company beyond the personal electronics and online music markets. Jobs encouraged his employees to be innovative, with messages such as "Real Artists Ship," indicating that the timeliness of a product is as important as innovation and unusual designs. Jobs worked at Apple for several years for $1 a year, which also earned him the title of lowest paid CEO in Guinness World Records. When Apple's earnings increased and the company began to hover in the plus zone instead of the minus, the company removed interim from its title. In 1999, he was gifted a jet worth $90 million and about $30 million in restricted stock. In 1986, Jobs and Edwin Catmull jointly founded Pixar, an animation studio in Emeryville, California. The company was originally founded on Lucasfilm's computer graphics division. Jobs bought this division of Lucasfilm from George Lucas for $10 million. The company exploded almost 10 years later with Toy Story. Since then, the films A Bug's Life in 1998, Toy Story 2, Monsters Incorporated in 1999, Finding Nemo in 2003, and The Incredibles in 2004 have won awards. In 2006, Cars was nominated for 2 Oscars, and in 2007 Ratatouille won the Oscar for Best Animation. Finding Nemo and The Incredibles won the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature Film. He stepped down as CEO of Apple Computer on August 25, 2011 due to health problems and was replaced by Tim Cook. He continued as chairman of the board of directors at Apple Computer until his death. Steve Jobs married Laureen Powell on March 18, 1991. He had 3 children from this marriage. He also has a daughter, Lisa Jobs, born out of wedlock in 1978. Jobs was vegetarian, but ate fish. On July 31, 2004, Jobs underwent surgery to remove a cancerous tumor in his pancreas. Jobs had a rare form of pancreatic cancer with the scientific name islet cell neuroendocrine tumor. This type of cancer did not require chemotherapy or radiation therapy. During his absence, Tim Cook, head of global sales and management, led Apple. Jobs began receiving cancer treatment in 2004. In 2009, he underwent a liver transplant. In January 2011, Jobs took a leave of absence for the third time in recent years, citing health problems. On August 24, 2011, Jobs announced that he was stepping down as chairman of the company's board of directors, leaving Tim Cook in charge. However, in a statement issued by his family on October 5, 2011, it was announced that Steve Jobs died peacefully with family members at his bedside. Tim Cook said they learned the news with great sadness. Apple has lost a visionary and a creative genius. The world has lost an incredible person, Cook said. His sister Mona Simpson said Steve Jobs' last words were, "Oh wow. Oh wow. Oh wow. Oh wow."